All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little Golden State Warrior video. That's right. That's why we changed the colors to blue. We're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. We're also brought to you by Sharp Corners, Sports Cards, and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, along the Monterey Peninsula. Thanks to Anthony Catania. He's at 831-521-5264. They're a great follow on Instagram at Sharp Corners 831 on the gram. All right, let's talk a little bit about a guy that I really have enjoyed watching the last couple days for the Warriors Summer League team. And that is not Alex Toohey, believe it or not. Alex Toohey was the Warriors' highest draft choice this year. It wasn't Alex Toohey. It wasn't the Florida kid. It was L.J. Crier, Lionel Crier. He goes by L.J. Crier. Started at Baylor, transferred to Houston from Morton. He went to Morton Ranch High School in Katy, Texas. Born in New Orleans, Louisiana. He's a 23-year-old point guard, about 6'1" and change, 200 pounds. Went undrafted in the NBA draft. Won a national championship in 2021. Playing for Baylor. So NCAA champion for Baylor in 2021, and then transferred to Houston and was really good for Houston. A great player for Houston. Limited playing time as a freshman at Baylor, averaged about 3.4 points per game. And then his team won the national championship that year. So, really an amazing couple years, 3 years at Baylor, 2 years at Houston. And if you look at some of his numbers are really impressive. He averaged 3.4 points per game his first year at Baylor, 13.5 points per game in his second year at Baylor, 15 points a game in his third year at Baylor, then 15.5 a game in his first year at Houston, then 15.7 a game in his final year at Houston. But then when you look closer at the numbers, they're even more impressive than that. This year, he shot 42% from three. But in 2021, 2022 for Baylor, he shot 47% from three. So, he's a really, really good shooter. He also, this year at Houston, made 90% of his foul shots. See, when a guy makes 90% of his foul shots and is shooting over 42% from three, that's a guy you can finish games with. Because if he goes to the line, he's going to knock those shots down. Really, really underrated player, I think, for Golden State. L.J. Crier, and he looked really good in the summer league. He had 19 points on Sunday in the summer league game. Averaged 28 points a game in high school. Averaged 34 points a game his senior year in high school. His dad is a football player. His dad played college football at Grambling State and coaches football. So he's got that football toughness to him. As I said, born in New Orleans, started at Baylor, transferred, won a national championship, first team All Big 12, shot 48% from three in the 22-23 season, and nearly a 90% foul shooter and 42% from three this year. So, tough kid, lots of range, real good toughness, will play good defense. This guy had a 50-point game in high school. I mean, he was a big-time scorer. And then played for two very good programs, did a ton of winning, won a ton at Baylor, went to Houston. They did a ton of winning. Really good basketball player. But because he's not 6'4" or 6'5", and he's more like 6'1" and change, he got bypassed. But in the draft. But I think the Warriors really found something because they found a guy who's tough. They found a kid who's got great shooting range. And a 90% foul shooter means that you can have this guy in games, in big moments. If he gets fouled, he goes to the line, he's going to knock down 9 out of 10. I mean, it's pretty rare to find a guy who, shoots the ball, for his career 3-point percentage is 41%. His career free throw shooting percentage is 86%. But if you look at it, the best he's ever done, his best 3-point percentage is 47%, and his best free throw percentage is 90%. So, you get a guy who shoots 48% from three and 90% from the foul line, who's pretty tough and does a lot of winning, or at least did a lot of winning in college. And that's a guy that I'm really excited about. So I saw Alex Tui. He looked okay. He looked okay. He's kind of an undersized power forward. But, there were a couple plays where Tui was just snuffed out because the athlete that was guarding him was just a way better athlete than him. And that's what he's going to run into in the NBA, is that, there are going to be athletes that are just too long, too dynamic for Tui. And that's going to be something he's going to battle his whole career. Now, Crier's issue is he's smaller, right? He's not 6'4", he's 6'1". But man, when you're talking about a 90% foul shooter and a guy who's well over a 40% 3-point shooter, and his dad's a football coach and he's tough and his kid's motivated and played on some good teams, was part of a lot of winning culture at Houston and Baylor. And has that chip on his shoulder from being undrafted. Watch out for LJ Crier. He's just legit. There's just no doubt about it. Plays hard on D, great range on offense, can handle the ball, can get others involved. I thought he looked better than any other player that the Warriors had on the roster throughout the summer league. So remember that name, because come training camp, this guy's going to get a real shot. And how good of a player is he? Time's going to tell. It's really hard to say what kind of player he is. He was a very, very good player at Baylor. He was a very, very good player at the University of Houston. And when you think of what he's looked like this summer, he just looks like a guy who's very much an NBA player. He doesn't look like a guy who in any way, is intimidated by the moment. He really looks sharp. In fact, we'll share the screen and let you kind of catch a little bit of the highlights of Crier from Summer League. Here he is, in the Warrior game, and we'll share the screen here.
Crier, his 4th three of the first half.
And he has been pretty good. That's Kevin Dan on the call there. But here he is, LJ Crier. He hits the 1-3. Okay, kind of off the bounce. That wasn't a catch and shoot three. That was off the bounce. Here he is, a little pull up from three. Boom. There you go. That was his 4th three. So I guess, that's the only one that they have here on the video. But he looked good in the Summer League. I really looked good in the Summer League. Now we'll see what he looks like in Vegas, but he looked good in the first edition of the Summer League. He's got deep range. He knows how to play. He's played on some good teams. And there's a lot to like. So LJ Crier, if there was one guy that opened my eyes during the Warriors Summer League games that I watched against Miami, the Lakers, the Spurs, L.J. Crier. Remember that name. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles for sponsoring this video. Also, thanks to our good friends at Claw Daddy Arcades. They're a great follow on Instagram at claw_daddy_arcades to find a location near you. They got a brand new arcade opening in Capitola Mall later this year. Another brand new arcade opening in Visalia Mall down in the Central Valley also later on this year. Thanks to Claw Daddy Arcades for being a proud sponsor of The Krug Show. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.